Yeah, I think so. What's the date today? 4/10? All right. All right, it's Wednesday, April 10th, 11 o'clock in the morning. We'll call to order the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting. We'll start with introductions.
Kara Terry, Ward 1.
Kevin Stunick, Alderman at Large.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
James Kronvik, Community Development Director.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
Nick Broyle, City Administrator.
And Gabe Johnson, Chair of the committee. We have 4 items. First is reclassifying Tyler Heinlein.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
The item for.
Okay, we're down to 3 items. The first of which is reclassify Tyler Heinlein to CSO position.
So, good morning. We have had Mr. Heinlein has served with us as our police intern. He has now maxed out as far as the time frame that an intern can serve. He's still doing a great job for us, so we would like to reclassify him as a CSO. And that reclassification would take effect March 22nd, and it would be at the same wage that he was at for the intern position.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Nope.
So this position is open, the CSO position is open currently and we're just, okay,
CSO is a budgeted amount we spend each year, so the number of officers
got it.
varies.
Thank you.
No other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, consider a joint power, which one is it?
That one is gone.
The memorandums of agreement regarding the ESST, Chris.
Yes. Now attached to the agenda, we received signed MOAs from the IUOE unions representing streets and parks. We got them late yesterday. So we are asking for the committee to recommend approval of those 2 MOAs for the
So moved.
ESST.
Sorry, I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Where are we at? How many unions do we have left on this one then?
We have 1 left, public utilities.
Okey doke. All in
Moving
favor?
forward.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And last up, the assistant planner position. Chris James, who's taking it?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start this one, just give a little bit of background to what we've been doing, where we're at. Like we discussed at the last city council meeting, since our former assistant planner, Dylan Edwards, had resigned from the position, we've gone through 2 unsuccessful searches. We did offer in each instance a position that was ultimately did not work out or was turned down. I did put in the report, potentially a contributing factor to it is we're getting applicants that are kind of all across the country and probably applying all across the country. So they're having to potentially move here. I think that was, potential issues as well. We're not really getting Minnesota applicants. I don't know, it may be a type of thing where there's not as much advancement opportunities in the Lakes area as you'd have in the Twin Cities, where you can kind of bounce around from each municipality. So with this, kind of took a step back to see what the Community Development Department, may need or what we could work with. And are recommending bringing back the planning and zoning specialist as well as a permit technician position. This position would allow for making staff reports, so I would still be the one that would finalize staff reports, but the findings of fact as well as potential documents for planning commission or EDA can begin drafted by the planning and zoning specialist, as well as one of the big things are some of the day-to-day questions, fences, accessory structures, decks, working with setbacks. So there's a lot of kind of easy questions that can be answered over the phone as the initial point of contact. But it does get to be quite time consuming working with the general public when they're not used to looking at codes compared to a contractor or developer. So with that, I'll kind of let Chris take over and talk about kind of the specifics of the agenda request.
Certainly. So attached to your agenda now is a red line job description for the zoning specialist permit technician position. As noted in the agenda request, James actually was originally hired for this position a few years ago. And so we revised that job description, and we've included some of the administrative specialist duties as well, because what we're planning on doing is hiring this zoning specialist permit technician instead of the assistant planner, and basically asking if we could look at posting this position internally. We have an internal candidate that's currently administrative specialist. She's been doing a great job. Required by our employee policy manual is all positions have to be posted for at least 3 days. And she's already been going through the ICC permit technician coursework and things like that. In addition, since this position was not part of our organization when we did our class and comp study, we have calculated what the points should be for this position and also looked at a recommended wage range for this position as well. In addition, we are now reducing the staffing levels for the Community Development Department. So we're asking for a administrative support position that would be on a part-time basis, and I mean very part-time. This position would not be eligible for benefits. It would basically be able to help cover vacations and things like that. By law, this position could work up to 67 days. So primarily want to help James with his any short staffing that would be happening there, but this position could also float to some of our other departments if we have issues with FMLA issues or things like that. So we consider it a win-win in both situations. It's a cost savings, reducing from 2 positions to 1 with just having this part-time position. So at the end of the day, our recommendations are to reestablish the zoning specialist permit technician position with the attached updated job description, to approve the zoning specialist permit technician job classification points at 351, to authorize staff to negotiate the wage for the zoning specialist permit technician position with the IBEW Administrative Support Union, and then last, to authorize staff to hire a part-time administrative support employee to help cover vacations and as needed up to 67 working days per year. Further, that the wage for this position be based on the administrative specialist, community development positions, which cover the administrative specialist that covers the community development, finance, and public works wage grids. Any questions?
I have one. So at the end of the 67 days, what happens? Do we
That
just hire
person-
somebody else?
No, we just only would hire for this position for 67 days. That is what the union representation language is required in state law. So we have a former employee in mind, actually, for that part-time position as well.
Okay,
So,
with that said, then, the duties aren't gonna go away after 67 days. Who's
Correct.
gonna pick up that slack?
like I said, go
Yeah, I'll
ahead,
kind of
James.
answer that. It's really only during, typically people want to take vacations in the summertime, and then that's the busiest time of year as well in our department. It's when most permits come, it's when most of our zoning stuff comes as well. So really just during that time.
Okay, sounds good.
Mr. Chair.
Chair, yeah.
Sorry, you're not the
Oh,
president
yeah,
today.
don't promote me.
Okay, with that said, I would move forward with this position.
And I'll second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate you guys looking at this and coming up with a creative solution. Do we know the potential savings in personnel?
As we've noted, there are so many variables right now that we really haven't taken that into consideration yet before we do the hiring of either or the promotion of the person to that position. And then also when we hire the position for the part-time, we can give you more details at that point. What we can tell you is we're going from 2 positions to 1. So there are substantial savings there. And the part-time position is not eligible for any benefits. So there's substantial savings there as well.
So it's like a 1.14.08 or something like, I'm just making things up.
Right. We haven't done the calculation, I'll be honest.
So
Just didn't have time.
one thing that we do at the county, which is really helpful, is bring forward budget amendments when we have a change to personnel and positions. That helps lay out the staffing changes, the budgetary changes, that type of thing, and it helps to paint a clearer picture for the board. Something like that might be useful, so we can have a kind of an idea of what those financial impacts would be. I appreciate there wasn't much time, but it's a good practice to then have that information in writing. Just a suggestion.
Yep. We'll definitely do that in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Kara kind of hit on my question, and that's the finances behind it. Obviously, you'd expect to save money going from 2 FTEs down to just over 1, but I'd really like to see some numbers to this, right? how much did we budget to spend on an assistant city planner? And then what are we expecting, you know, to the nearest $20,000, and there's $10,000 if you can, I don't need pennies.
Right. I would say it's probably going, I don't know what this job wage is based on this points, so I haven't even looked at that information either. But I can tell you that we only budgeted for, I do believe it was like 10 months for the assistant planner, but we had 12 months for the administrative specialist position. So when is this all going to happen? Is it going to happen, when we already have a budget savings because we haven't hired the assistant planner by February 1st, which we were also budgeting. So, I mean, 2023 is going to be really weird as far as the as far as
24.
the budget savings.
Yeah, but the numbers exist on paper somewhere, what we did budget for the assistant city planner, right?
Yes, but
And
like
for
I
the
said,
administrative
today,
assistant.
but is the administrative assistant, the current administrative assistant for sure going to be the new position?
You know, you guys are sure making it sound that way, toeing the edge, I'd say.
I mean, those were so many variables, it's like, why not wait until we have more information to provide financial information?
Okay, so let's say the current administrative assistant whose position we're eliminating doesn't get the job.
Then what happens?
Then we'd be advertising to see if anyone else is interested and has the experience that we need for this position. If not, then we would be going outside. At this point, we're just asking for internal.
But would we hire, then we'd leave the administrative specialist in place and we'd be hiring a permit tech person, so we'd still be at the same number of staff as if we were hiring the assistant city administrator.
Correct.
Or assistant planner, excuse me. So that's why it was like, what's gonna all happen here? And it was set at 9 o'clock, we needed this estimate, and I did not have time to prepare.
Okay, well, now you got a few days. So I think we should post this zoning specialist permit tech position. I don't think we should authorize the posting for the part-time because we may still have the administrative assistant and the permit tech, and then we aren't going to need the part-time help. So I think we wait and see on the part-time help. Did you make the motion already?
Kevin did, I seconded.
All right, well, can we change it to do steps 1 through 3, but not step 4?
That's fine with me.
Fine with me.
And you guys okay with that?
Yes, we had put as needed, so if we
Okay.
didn't need that position, we wouldn't be asking that person to work either. So totally up to the P&F committee how you want to proceed.
Let's start with steps 1 through 3, see how the hiring process goes, and then we'll
We can always-
revisit 4.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And Connie, if you can get something to the nearest $50,000 by Monday night, that'd be great.
It's not gonna be $50,000 that we're gonna save.
No, to the nearest 50. If it's 0, it's 0. Anything else? Okay, with that, we're adjourned.
Oh, the next meeting?
Oh, next meeting. Thank you, Connie.
Next meeting will be Wednesday, May 1st at 11 o'clock.
Sounds good to me.
As needed.
As if needed, yeah. We're adjourned.